Today we're reading Nora's favorite book, which is called Sweep. Ed in a good mood is a very nice Ed. Ed in a bad mood is not. And Ed was in a bad mood. Not one of those tiny whirlwinds in a teacup that blow over before they have even begun. No, this mood swept over him in a raging storm and stuck. It began as something small, really small, hardly a thing at all. But before Ed knew it, the something had grown, gathered pace, and swept him off down a path. Ed's bad mood thought this was a wonderful idea. But the things that got in Ed's way did not. See, the dog and the cat got in Ed's way. Ed knew perfectly well when he had gone far enough, but he could not bring himself to say, "Okay, that will do." So on he stormed a bit further, and a bit further, until suddenly the whole thing became bigger than him. Of course, if Ed had looked up, he would have noticed the beautiful things, the things that always made his heart sing. But he refused to lift his eyes. The ground was a lot more interesting, or so his bad mood told him. Everything seemed against him, but that just made him more determined. He dug in his heels and he kept going. Just Ed and his bad mood. Is this really worth it? He asked himself. Yes, his bad mood decided, though Ed did wonder a little. Now his bad mood had swept through the whole town. The birds had stopped singing, the flowers had disappeared. The whole thing was affecting everyone and everything. Good, thought Ed's bad mood. But really, Ed was beginning to wish it had all blown over like a whirlwind in a teacup. And you can see Ed at the very top of the leaves right here, looking out at what's happened in his town because of his bad mood. Everything grew dark, and Ed was getting tired and hungry. He was finding it harder and harder to keep this up. Surely he could not give up now. But when he had gone to all this trouble, not when he had gone to all this trouble, that would be crazy. But something had to change. And then something did change. A new wind whipped up. It began as something small, really small, that became bigger. Bigger than Ed. Suddenly, everything looked different. The world looked brighter. For a moment, Ed felt rather silly. Had he really gone to all this effort for nothing? But at least it had cleared the air. It had even blown something his way, something that made him look up. It lifted his mood higher and higher up to the sky. And suddenly he noticed beauty all around him. It swept him away. As for his bad mood, it vanished into thin air. Now, when it looks as if Ed might spiral into a bad mood and sweep down that path again, he thinks twice. His first thought is, will I? And his second thought is, or not. And here's Ed making a little snow angel in the leaves. The end.